You're comfortable, everything's good. Yeah, that's it.
Cheers.
Cheers, Rob. How are you doing?
I'm good. Nice to meet you, Alex. What's your name?
My name's Alex. You just said nice to meet you, Alex.
I know. It was part of my informal beginning of a video joke situation.
Well, Rob, apologies if I look down at my phone occasionally. I was far too lazy to actually memorise the questions I'm going to be asking you today.
I will be tremendously offended, but it is absolutely fine. I'll look at mine as well. We'll do it together, and then that way we won't mind. There you go.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes. My name is Rob Chapman. I play in a band called Clockwork Wolf Co. Another band called Dorje. I have a solo instrumental kind of thing called Monkey Lord. I have a YouTube channel. I run a guitar company. I'm a dad.
Yeah.
I live in Brighton. My favourite colour is yellow. And I love cooking pizza with my boy.
I mean, what's the toughest job out of all of that?
Probably the pizza cooking with my boy, because we use this cheesy powder because my kids don't like dairy products. They're allergic to dairy, so they get this cheesy nutritional yeast, and he's supposed to put like a little sprinkle on the pizza,
right?
But he's like, whoa, all the powdery yeasty powder makes it really dense.
Remind me never to go around yours for pizza, okay?
Right.
So today I'd love to talk about just what the Musical Community Alliance gets up to. We are essentially a brand new organisation, not-for-profit community interest company, and one of our main focuses is music education.
Sure.
And something that always we find has an incredible impact on people is a great music education. And I want to ask you, how did your life change when you first started learning music? Because it hasn't been a lifelong endeavour that you've been a professional musician.
No, it's relatively new. I suppose the biggest change was that I had a lot more time to be creative in.
Yeah.
And that brings a lot of rewards. I mean, I spend more time with my family, more time with my friends. A lot of my friends work in the same industry. If it wasn't for the guitar, I would be 9 to 5ing. And I'd like to hope that it would be a job that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
But it certainly wouldn't be in my studio with a coffee, writing some music, or, like I did yesterday, some lyrics or something. So I think that the best thing that acquiring guitar skill gave me was the time to spend with the guitar, ultimately.
Fantastic. I'm a musician myself, and I couldn't relate to that more. I mean, it really is a therapeutic and just such a positive experience.
Yeah.
And you teach music videos as well on your YouTube channel. You're always teaching music theory and showing us how you're progressing in your singing as well. And what value do you get out of spreading the knowledge that you've acquired over your career?
I have this... that's a really interesting question that I have never been asked before. And I'm telling you, that's a cool thing. I really enjoy teaching.
Yeah?
I can't tell you... Like, it's not an altruistic thing because I get something from it. I feel like I love sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
I've always really enjoyed teaching people, but I kind of see it in a way. Everyone's self-taught. You have to teach yourself, really.
Yeah.
But you can get your knowledge from anywhere you want. And I'm a bit of a fact nerd.
Yeah.
Like, I love knowing random facts about things. And for me, when I learn specifically modal application theory, it really opened lots of doors in my head, and I got it, it was this big eureka moment for me, and I love seeing that happen in a guitarist. Like when they go, oh, it's the major scale, or the diatonic major scale, but you start from this point and then the intervallics change, and they're like, I can't believe it, now I can play, it's like the Matrix, now I can do Kung Fu, But instead of Kung Fu, it's shred.
That's just as good. It's just as useful in a fight.
Better.
In a guitar fight, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
What musical heroes do you have? I feel like the term musical heroes is changing with the progression of YouTube becoming such a fantastic way to interact with people doing live streams and place to learn guitar. But it's such a recent technological development. But what about your musical heroes, and how do they affect you?
Well, I mean, sadly, a lot of them died, which is bad. But for me, I mean, and they really have changed as I've grown up.
Yeah.
So to begin with, it was Kirk Hammett, Tony Iommi, The Edge.
Brilliant.
And then I moved more into Joe Satriani, Alex Skolnick, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani.
Steve Vai?
Steve Vai. Really was into Joe Satriani. And then I found Marty Friedman,
Right.
and it was like, you know, arpeggios and crazy stuff. And then it moved from instrumental shred more into Sepultura, Metallica, Megadeth, Testament, again with the Alex Skolnick connection, Pantera, really, really heavy stuff, touched on a bit of Lamb of God. And now I'm moving into more of the blues rock world of like the original Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac, Jimi Hendrix, who I've always loved, but I've really loved now. Philip Sayce, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Alison Krauss and Union Station. And I love all my sort of classic soul singing, you know, Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Tina Turner, you know, all the people that I will never sound anything like but wish I could.
And so you're kind enough to play with your band Clockwork Wolf Co at the Musical Community Alliance's launch gig coming up, 5th of March, the Hope and Ruin in Brighton. Tickets are available now online, and there's free entry to all of our members. If you become an ally of the Musical Community Alliance, you can bag yourself a free admission ticket via Eventbrite.
It's going to be an interesting gig because I still got to write one of the verses. I got a whole load of new tunes that we literally wrote several months ago, and I'm a big believer in not forcing anything to come like that. So I'm letting the lyrics come to me gradually. It may be that I have to improvise a verse, but that's fine. At your expense, that's fine.
What were you telling me before this interview began about going on tour with a verse missing on one of your songs, and you just improvise it every night?
No, I've done it before. I did it with Dorje. We were doing, was it the Catalyst tour? I think it was the Catalyst tour. There was one song I hadn't written a verse for one of the tracks. It was a new track we were working on, and I would often take new music on the road and just kind of go to hell with it. I'm just going to play it, see what comes out, you know, and at the end of that tour I'll have the lyrics because it will come naturally, but I won't sit down with a pen and go, the sky, that's bad, it's contrived. So I would rather go out and improvise and let it come from that place than try and sit down and force it to happen.
So we'll be hearing some new tunes at this.
Oh yeah, loads of new tunes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's one called Turn Off the Sun. There's one called Burn Your Feathers. There's a whole load of new stuff, and some old stuff like Breath. I'm going to play Breath, which is one of the first songs I ever recorded ages ago. I love that track.
Does this mean you'll be going back in the studio anytime soon with Clockwork Wolf Co?
Clockwork Wolf and Company are releasing a full album towards the end of this year. Well, we're recording it this year, and it will be hopefully released at the end of this year. And it's really exciting. Working with Zach, you know, working with Jack, working with Chris on all the tunes. I'm really lucky because they are insanely talented, and you know, Zach and I have a really, really similar approach to writing blues and rock music, but luckily where I have strengths in writing, I'm a riff smith. I can write a riff, bang, and it's done. And I find it easy to write choruses, but what I find hardest are bridges, connective parts, and Zach is like, well, here's your piece, he just wrote it for you, you know. It's like, it just comes from nowhere. So we're a really good team in that respect. Chris, the drummer, is a phenomenally good blues guitar player. So he can feel the vibe and understands intimately what the piece needs, which it is absolutely evident if you listen to Living in the Sunshine.
Okay, yeah.
That track was a one take.
No way.
It was one take. I literally said, okay, I didn't have a demo for him. I had played him on the guitar how parts of it went, and I said, should we just feel it through and see how it goes? And he went, yeah, sure. So lots of eye contact, and I'm playing, and we get to the end, and the producer, Mark Roberts, who's an amazing local producer, went, take. And I'm like, that was incredible. And it was literally, he had listened and felt all the way through, played the perfect take, and we got it in one go. He and I in the room at the same time, so there's guitar bleed on the cymbal mics and real live dirty vibe, you know.
Do you prefer recording it ensemble that way and then doing overdubs on top of that? What's your favourite way of recording a song?
Well, it depends on the project. So for Monkey Lord, I like to compose and arrange backing tracks that create a world, and that I like to improvise in that 8-10 times and then chop inspiring parts from it, because I want it to be improvised. I don't want it to be written. It needs to be improvised. Clockwork Wolf and Company, I write. Almost all of it I write, and I like it to feel rough around the edges and have the hair left on, as Eddie Kramer would say. So best way to do that is to have the drummer, have the bassist, and have me, and we're all playing together in one big fat room with a little bit of divide between us, but you get that bleed and you get that connection between the musicians. So, no click, you don't need a click, and you just let it go.
So our organisation, we believe that music can bring together people of all backgrounds, all languages, just because music is a universal language, essentially. And as a touring musician yourself, you've been all around the world touring different bands, different music projects. What is it, do you think, about music that no matter where you go, people can come together to convene, to celebrate just that band, or just what is it about music that can do that to a community?
It's a medicine. It's there's something in the way it makes you feel and see things that uniquely locks into what a person needs. So maybe you need a very specific kind of music and it connects with you and you feel a thing. Well, that's a deep personal experience, and you want to share it with people who've had the same experience. So, I mean, we've all been in the car, broken up with a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, put on a track from Tina Turner, and you cry. But if someone said to you, I've got this gun and I'll aim it at this guy here and shoot it, and it will have this ray of vibration come out, and when the vibration hits him, he'll cry, you'd be like, shut up. But that's what it is. It's
music is
mad. It's a vibrational medicine is what it is, and it makes people release trapped emotions without getting too kind of woo-hoo about it. It's an amazing thing. It really is. It's a medicine, and I think look, the number of times people have written to me or my friends and said, wow, I listened to this song you wrote, and it really helped me when I was in a difficult place. It pulled me out of this dark time, and I want to thank you. I couldn't count them.
Yeah.
And that's been the same with me. I've been in those places. So I think, thank God for music. And it's great when people get together to celebrate that experience. I've never seen it more than with the band Carnival.
Right.
Have you heard Carnival?
I haven't actually.
Right. You're welcome. I went to see Carnival at Download, and it was like a religious experience. People were just crying.
Yeah.
And it's instrumental prog. Well, it's not. It's prog. It's not instrumental. Sorry, forget that part. There's an amazing vocalist, but I was really listening to the drums and the bass because the rhythm section is just phenomenal. And there's something about the way they were playing and the sun coming through hitting the stage. It just made people emotional.
It's incredible.
That's what's unique and special about it.
I couldn't agree more. And what's your favourite tour story? We can beep it all out depending on how bad it is.
Okay, I've got a number of them.
This better be good.
Well, I'm sort of, if you can imagine, my head is like an iPhone, and each story is like an app, and I'm going, no. I remember Dave being cornered by women.
Oh God.
On a Door J tour, because he's an attractive guy. Like 3 or 4 women just cornering him, and he was like, Rob. I remember Ben getting severe food poisoning from an Indian restaurant called The Healthy Indian in Glasgow, and then playing the gig even after he had been fully naked on all fours, spewing and everything. He still played the gig because he's a hero. Absolutely a hero. I fell through a stage once. One of the most emotional times for me was when Chris Cornell passed away, and we decided that day we were in Germany to cover Soundgarden, an Audio Slave track.
Yeah.
Nail in my head. That one. And Show Me How to Live. And it was, we learnt it in the tour bus, listening on the iPhones, just trying to get it good. Learnt the lyrics. gave it 110%, sang it well for me, blew my voice that one gig, and it was like the third gig of the tour. But I'd given it so much energy and effort and emotion that I ruined my voice.
Oh.
But it was worth it for Chris, you know what I mean?
He would have been proud.
Well, I don't know if he would have even known I existed, but I like to think that I gave it everything I had, and the audience loved it. And someone filmed it, and I'm really glad they did, you know. So yeah, there are lots of special moments. Being lost backstage a number of times in some bigger venues, being locked in a room on my own, because I wander off doing vocal exercises, like, and I wander and sort of walk around, and I'm like, oh, I'm in a room and the door's locked, and I'm like banging, and there's like drum practice, you know, they're miking up kits so no one can hear me, my phone's in a different room, and I'm like, let me out. So I've been locked in rooms before and got food poisoning myself. Yeah, it's been crazy.
You've made it this far, and the gig coming up is going to be a fantastic evening.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for wanting to play with your band Clockwork Wolf Co.
You're 100% welcome, sir. Thank you for having us.
And all the funds raised from that will be going to help us support some great causes, which we are incredibly excited for. If you want to keep following our mission and contribute and participate, you can find us in the description down below. Rob, thank you so much for being here today.
And if you want a really good turmeric latte, come to Wild Cherry on Queen's Park Road, where they make the finest assortment of fruits, vegetables and meals.
He wasn't even paid to say that.
No. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Rob.